Hey everybody, welcome to Grow Your Greenhouse. Today we're going to start a special project and it involves everything you see here. We have a box from Amazon and we have 3 sheets of 3/4 inch maple plywood. And then we've got our table saw, we've got the chop saw, got everything set up, just ready to go. What are we going to build? Well, what we're going to build is a Murphy bed. I think about people that like to build and make things in at least 2 categories. One, kit builders, and number 2, kit makers. And what we see here is 3 sheets of plywood and then a box of hardware. And this is what it takes to make a Murphy bed. In other words, to make a kit so that it will go together and function like it needs to. The other way to do it would be to have something already prefabricated but in pieces and then take and build that. And so you could almost call this building from scratch. You have all the ingredients, but they're in raw shape. And now it's time to put them all together. Can't put them together until you actually cut them all out and follow the directions. So I want to take you through the different steps it takes to make a queen size Murphy bed. And this is a vertical one. It's one that will be taller than it is wide. We also make horizontal ones that are wider than they are tall, so they lay along the wall and don't take up as much height room. So anyway, that's what we're going to make here. So stay tuned and we'll keep on building. Well, here we are with the smaller box that was inside of the bigger Amazon box. And this is the easy do-it-yourself Murphy bed. And do it yourself and do it right. Yeah, I like that. And I have not opened this. I did cut it. So we can open it together. You can see what's inside. And that it all has all the hardware to make the bed. And so let's take off of this piece of cardboard, and then here is a complete instructional manual. Easy DIY Murphy bed. This is the cutting guide and item list for making a vertical Murphy bed. And so what we're going to do, first of all, is just take a quick look at the hardware. These are the footrests when it opens up, and then there's the springs, the hydraulics, the different things that's needed to allow it to open up and do its thing when it's in a closed position up on the wall. But the first thing that we do as a process is make sure we have all the parts, and then we'll start laying out and cutting the plywood. Once all the plywood's cut, then it can be sanded and it's ready to assemble. And so we'll start that process here next. So this is the queen size vertical Murphy bed, and I wanted to show you a couple things. We've got our table of contents, and this is how the bed is going to look from just a regular oblique drawing, where you want to have it where it can be built in such a way that it will take up to a 12-inch thick mattress. You don't want to use a mattress thicker than that, and you don't want the mattress to be more than 85 pounds. It gets too heavy to open and close that way. If it's under 50 pounds, then like a thin mattress, then it will be too light and it will not want to stay opened up when you have it opened like you're going to sleep in it. And then it's about 16 inches wide, and then the dimensions for the queen size on the height is 86 7/8 by 66 3/8. And you can see right here, these are the legs where it's at rest position, and there's pivots that go in here, and right here is the hydraulics. And I'll step over here to show you. This is the hydraulics right here, right there, and that is the parts that are right there. You can see the black hydraulic part. And then we have a pivot bracket, and then we have the pivots themselves, and these work together, and they go right inside, right in this area here, and that allows the whole bed to pivot. And then another fun thing is that you're going to need 4 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood right there, and then you're going to need 2 sheets of 1/4 inch and 13 pieces of 6 foot long 1x2 in two pieces of 8-foot long 1x2. And just you're going to need a pretty good sized box of screws and stuff, 1 1/4 screws and some 2-inchers. And that's how that works. And then it just goes through and it tells you your cut dimensions, how many pieces that you need, and you start building that. Whenever I build, I always cut my biggest pieces first out of the plywood and get all the big pieces cut. That way you'll know what selvage is left over, and then you could usually make up all of your smaller pieces from that. If you start cutting your smaller pieces first, then you're going to have an issue. And they do that here, where they say cut the 31 by 80-inch piece first out of 2 of those. And these are the face panels that go on the bed when it's closed in the upright position. And they say cut those first, which is just standard. That's just standard construction, how you do that. And then it's got a whole bunch of fun little cuts you make on your cabinet top and the lower header and parts of the bed cabinet, the sides of the frame header, and the inside parts. And then this is the face panels and the side rails. And anyway, just do 1 page at a time, get all these cut. And I always cut them and then get them all sanded and get them ready so they're not going to bother my hand with splinters or anything, and they're nice and clean, and I can deal with any kind of blowout or of chips and stuff and make it all right, and turn my wood so that the best side is going to be facing the non-bed side, the mattress side when it's closed. You just got to look at all those things, and that's the next step on laying it out. And that's what I'm going to start doing now, is getting all my big pieces cut and then make it into a manageable size job. That's a big part about if you're a kit maker versus a kit builder. You can go to IKEA or different places like that and get kits to make things with and put them together. And they kind of give you a great idea on how things are built. And that's a great starting point. But then eventually, maybe you'll want to be a kit maker where you're not hesitant to take a raw materials and build something with it. And that's where the Murphy bed type things come in. And it's a nice, ambitious project, and you can make fun things happen with having the ambition to make kits and make it from scratch. Putting together the mattress frame is one part of the process, and that's what I decided to do first. I've got all the pieces cut. They're all sanded and standing up and marked properly. But this is the mattress frame, and basically it's six it's 6 pieces that are 1.5 by 1.5, 1x2 of size, and they're actually nailed and glued together. And this is 1 piece, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just put them on my bar clamps all together. But anyway, you glue up the joint here, and then I just tack some 2-inch 18-gauge nails in with the 18-gauge nailer. And then once the glue dries, then they'll be ready. And that's what we start making the mattress frame with. And basically, you put these pieces, which are 16.5 inches long, on 16-inch centers. And this is 1.5 inches board here. That's what these two are too. I just put them together like this so I could mark the 16-inch center lines. And then when this all dries, then I'll take and attach these. And these are the 2 side pieces here. I'll attach it all together. These are the 2 side pieces there. And then it will make the mattress frame. And then underneath you put 3/4 inch plywood, and then on top you put 1/4 inch plywood. And you never see this when it's all done. And so that's what this part is right now. So this is called the mattress frame for the Murphy bed. Well, here is the mattress rack of the mattress frame, and this is a picture of it with the 1.5 inch pieces of plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, 16.5 inches long. There's 6 of them, and then there's 2 inboards that are around 80 inches or so, and enough for the mattress. And this is what it looks like when you have this frame all screwed together. You don't see this. This is going to be covered on the top part with 1/4 inch plywood, and then underneath, when the mattress is closed, you'll see the 3/4 inch plywood inside the room. And so this is all going to be covered up and closed up, but this is the beginning of the mattress frame. And so it's all done. There's 6 supports here, and they're made out of 3/4 inch plywood, 1.5 inch wide, and just glue it and nail it together on these pieces here, each of the 6 pieces. And then you want to pre-drill and then screw in and countersink the attachments from the perpendicular, and then just let it dry all night. And they recommend putting the glue in the joint here, which I usually never put glue on butt joints, but I went ahead and just loaded it up, and it's okay. Put it in, and when it all gets screwed to the plywood, glued and screwed to the plywood, it's going to be a very, very solid, very square, level mattress frame. And so that's the mattress frame. It's all framed in now, and then it's time to skin it and wrap it with the 1/4 inch and 3/4 inch plywood. And then there's boards that go on the each side here that actually contain the mattress, so all this gets covered up also. Once you have the header and the footboard and the 2 side rails put on, then it's time to put on the 4 brackets. And the 4 brackets, there's 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, and they look like this in the picture. And then when they're installed, they look like this. And they just tell you to take a measurement like 9 inches from the corner this way, and then 3.5 down, or 2.5 inches down, into a 3/4 inch hole, because there's a bushing that's part of the bracket that it attaches, it goes through the hole. There it is right there. And then there's also 3/4 inch holes, and then you put these sleeve nuts on, and put the sleeve nuts on right there, and that will get you a good attachment with the screw. Anyway, that's how you put those brackets on, which is the bottom of the bed. And then the top of the bed, when it's closed, that's where you put these leg brackets on, and they tell you to measure in, so much from the side, and then down at the top, and you put a 5/8 hole right here, and then 2/4 inch holes, 3 of them. There's one behind that tape. And then you install the foot bracket, and these pieces here are the bushings, and I just tape them on because I don't want to put the bracket on until the bed's actually installed, because they kind of flip around and get in the way. You can see how they look like that. This is the next step. It's to attach the sideboards and the foot and headboard to the mattress frame. It's kind of like building a boat, where you have to make the framing members, the ribs, and once that's done, then you attach the 4 sides, the back, the front, and the 2 sides to the frame. And they tell you in the directions to put 2 screws in, countersink them, and I'm using 1 1/4 inch type screws, and I've taken and used a 3/8 Forstner bit just to get them down a little bit low. You have a whole 1.5 inches between this edge and then the edge of this piece here, so you got plenty of room to get a 1 1/4 inch screw in. So you just attach these like the instructions say, and now this part is finished, and then we're going to put the skin on. We're going to put a 1/4 inch paneling on this side, and then on the underneath side we'll put the 3/4 inch visible plywood. What we'll do now is to attach the 1/4 inch plywood, and this is what the mattress will directly contact when it's strapped into this whole mattress frame. And I just dry fit it, make sure that it all lines up, and now I've got to take the 2 pieces of 1/4 inch of maple plywood back out and put the of adhesive caulking on, and then make my light line so I can make sure the screws attach every 16 inches. So that's what I did. I just got a piece of masking tape and on all the struts. They are all identified now where we can take and mark them. So I'm going to take the 1/4 inch paneling off and get it all ready to lay it back in and start attaching it. And you attach it with 3 of the 1 1/4 inch self-tapping screws per joint or per joist here. So 1, 2, 3 when you're doing it, 1, 2, 3 on each of these, and you don't have to put 4 in on this. And so it'll make a real nice solid frame. It's amazing how solid it feels when it's all done and put together. It's like a rock. So, and it has to be, because you're not going to be sleeping on it and putting mattresses on it and lifting it up and closing it down all the time. So that's this process right here. And this is the picture of the 1/4 inch plywood covering the mattress frame. You can see all the little dots. It's basically where you put the screws, roughly. And this is the finished product. It's all attached and glued and screwed together, and just going to let it set up a few hours before I move it. But you just put the 1 1/4 inch screws in, and it racks itself where it squares up to itself real nicely. And over here on this side, I had to attach a couple of clamps and pull up the 3/4 inch plywood to make sure that it was flush with this side rail. There's just a little bit of a sag in that, but I corrected that and cleaned up the glue and let that set up also, and then it'll be ready to stand up. And then I'll build the frame, and the frame is made of the 16 inch wide pieces of maple, and then we'll take everything over to the job and put it together there, and then be able to get it installed, and then I'll do the clear coat varnishing on it. Before I do any more woodworking, I'm gluing on the veneer strips, covering up the plywood edges. You don't have to, but you can varnish these, sand them and varnish them, and they look nice. But you take and you put a veneer strip on, and it has an adhesive on the back that gets activated with your iron. And so you just put it on, and I try to flush up one edge of it, and then iron it on, and then you take and whatever the selvage is on the other side, you can trim that off and then sand it when it's all dry. You'll see that right here. You see that there's a lip right there, but on the other side it's nice and flush. And it sands out really nicely, and it looks real good. So I'm going to do the 2 sides, and then the bottom and then the top of edge of the plywood with this veneer strip. One of the last pieces to put on is this piece of trim that I made out of 1/4 inch maple plywood, and I use high strength contact cement and sprayed it on the mattress frame, and then also on the back of the 4 inch wide piece of 1/4 inch trim. And it's going to be right in the middle. And so it's going to kind of break up the monotony and give it a little bit of character to an otherwise very plain surface. And then with the frame that goes around here on the 16 inch sides, it'll come out a little bit. So it'll give some character to that also. And then when the chrome pull bar is put on, it will just accent it real nicely. So that is the last piece of trim on this Murphy bed. And after it sets up about 2 hours, I'll get 3 coats of varnish on the face of this whole bed assembly, mattress assembly, and then it will be ready to install tomorrow. This is another exciting part of building a Murphy bed. You have to have a handle to be able to attach to, so you can pull the bed open, because it's heavy. This queen size mattress support assembly, it probably weighs 150 pounds. And to be able to pull it open and shut it, there's an ease there with the hydraulics that are supplied with the kit. Their hydraulics are right here. They're still in the box, and we'll be putting those on after we assemble the bed tomorrow. But the bed itself weighs about 150 pounds. So what do? You go start looking for bars and different things. What you find is like towel bars, and they just don't work. Plus, they're not wide enough. And so what we've done here is taken 1/2 inch black gas pipe and put it together. Then I cleaned it with a liquid deglosser just 5 or 6 times, and then sprayed 3 coats of a chrome finish on it. That's what the client was requesting, was a chrome metallic type of finish. And then we'll attach that to the mattress frame. And so that's how you get around getting a very solid support and having a really nice looking type of handle here. You can do it with a gas pipe like this, and you can do it with wood and stuff too, but this is permanent. This will never, you could do pull-ups on this if you wanted to. It's that good and it's that strong, and it makes a nice statement. And in the assembly handbook, it tells you to put the hand grip, the bar, about 16 inches down from the top, and that's what I've done. It's about 16 inches from of the top here over. And this is 3/4 inch plywood, so it's going to hold however you do it. But what I've done here is mark the holes where the escutcheon goes for the black pipe, now chrome, and I'm going to drill in and put threaded inserts, brass inserts, and I want to show you how to do that so you can make a almost impervious non-pull-out screw connection, and it can be put on and removed. And so we'll close this little video with that in mind, and then I'll do a quick little video on how to do the brass threaded inserts. Hey everybody, this is Joe, and I wanted to show you a couple really cool things. This Murphy bed, it's a queen size, and to be able to open it up, you need to have a substantial handle. And I made this out of black gas pipe, cleaned it really well, and then took and sprayed a chrome finish on it. And so it has to be attached. And what you don't want to do is to take and just run some wood screws into this 3/4 inch plywood and say that it's all going to be fine. You want to do something a little differently, and so I'm going to pause the video and show you my process on how to attach escutcheons from metal into wood, so that whenever you're pulling the behemoth down and pushing it up, you just never have a chance that your work will come loose. And that's just a safety factor that you want to make sure of. And the way to do that is by these threaded inserts. So let me zoom in a little bit, and then I'll show you how the process works. The way the process works is that you want to take the brass insert, and you can see that it's got a little common groove in it for a common screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, but you don't want to use that because you'll end up breaking these tips off. What you want to do is to put it in the hole that you're going to drill with a 5/16 drill bit, you want to take and put it in a little different way, and this is what's really not common knowledge. This is a 1/4 by 20, so the inside of the threads on the brass insert are 1/4 inch by 20 threads for your machine screw, and that's what will go through the hole in the escutcheon and then attach down into the brass insert, which will be in the wood. And knowing about that is one thing, but then how to properly attach this is another. Once you drill the hole, and there's 4 holes that or the 5/16 bit which stays inside of these threads, and so then you can screw it down in properly. You take and you use one of the 1/4 by 20 nuts, screws with 2 nuts on it, so that it is just barely screwed in to the inside of the insert. And then you take and screw that in with your Phillips or square drive bit, and that puts the insert down into the hole properly. And I'll show you that in a second. First, I'm going to drill the holes, and you want to just line it up right on the center, and then you drill all 4 holes, just like that. And once we drill those, then we'll put the insert in. We'll put all the inserts in. But to put the first insert in, you take your square drive number 2 bit, and you set this threaded insert right down, and you run it down in, just like that. And then you can take and unscrew it with a pair of pliers. And then once you have your pair of pliers on it, you just unscrew it a little bit, and then it comes out. Let me do one more. And then you take that out of there like that. And then once that's out, then you have the threaded insert left in by itself. If the screw is not wanting to come out, you take a pair of pliers and hold it onto the nuts, and then back the screw out. Remember, the machine screw, remember, it's only in not even 1/8 of an inch into the brass insert. It's only in a little bit. So when you take it out, then your brass insert's left, and that's the proper fitting that you can attach your screw into. And so it makes everything hold well, and when you put your escutcheon back over on it, then you can take and run your screw right down into the threaded insert, and then it stays in there perfectly. So let me show you that. And when you have 8 of those in there, you're good to go. It's not going anywhere. So that's how you put in brass threaded inserts, and you can get them at your hardware store. And make sure that when you're at the store, you get the right screw that goes in them, and take the minute to get those, and a couple of the little nuts, so that you can put the nuts on the screw like I'm showing you here, where they are able to get your screw out. If you don't have these nuts on there, sometimes this will drive down too far, and you won't be able to get it off of the threaded insert. So anyway, use the 2 nuts like that, and that makes it work perfectly. And that's how you take and attach a pipe to the wood safely.